Senran Kagura Reflections, the pseudo-dating sim set in the Senran Kagura universe, released exclusively for the Nintendo Switch, is the proud owner of a 41-point split between critic and audience reception on Metacritic. But it's a good thing Metacritic is kind of trash anyway, so we'll just pretend we never seen that and take a fresh, albeit kind of late look at this seemingly divisive title. Senran Kagura Reflections is a story of two characters. Our first character is the current poster girl of the series, Asuka, and our second character, at the risk of sounding educational, is a tabula rasa, a blank slate, a self-insert character, if you will. Simply put, you are the other character. You have no face, no definable physical traits, and no personality, as you have no lines of dialogue. Asuka, seemingly struck by a spell of amnesia, needs your attention, your kindness and warmth to help her remember herself. As you take her hands, each finger or palm you caress will send Asuka into a bit of a fantasy zone, where she will imagine herself in situations where she needs your touch. In the first portion of this massage section, you poke and prod at her in what's essentially a pared-down version of the intimacy mode found in the previous game's releases. Different areas will trigger different emotional responses and moods that change the color palette of the effects in the background. You can also blast her with a water gun, which sometimes makes the game run a bit slow, especially if she's wearing clothes that have transparency layers. After enough time has passed, you enter another minigame where you massage a specific part of her body with the use of a special tool or simply your fists. These all have motion controls and HD rumble functionality, though you can choose to ignore either of them if you desire. Simply fill this meter here by keeping this meter here in the safe zone before this meter here reaches 0 and you succeed. When this is done, you get another brief dialogue segment and a little jar fills with a colorful liquid. The color it fills with is dependent on the mood color you finished on in the first portion of the massage section. When you fill the jar all the way up, you score a puzzle piece and the game ends. This is basically just a game of overt sexualization and simulated massages. Some sensitive folk may refer to this as misogynistic. I prefer the term misogynistic. You get it? This game takes about half an hour to 40 minutes the first time around. To properly finish the game, you'll need to score all 5 puzzle pieces. To do this, you'll need to fill the jar 5 times with a different color each time. Given the game gets boring before finishing your first run through, the need to finish it 5 times back to back to get the real ending ends up feeling absolutely mind-numbing and torturous. There aren't enough massage scenarios to support this much gameplay, and the special tools are very limited, so when the option to skip finally shows up, it's a blessing in disguise. There is a decent amount of cosmetic unlockables as you go, but they're not exactly adding much transformative value to the gameplay, and therefore they're not really adding much of anything to its playability. Some dialogue swaps out on repeat playthroughs, but not too much of it. And it's not like it matters anyway. The dialogue is obnoxiously shallow to the point where I would consider Twilight to be an improvement. I understand the point of the game is just to act out a few simple fantasies, but with dialogue this lazy, it tends to be detracting from the experience, and it'd probably be better to just not have any dialogue at all. The game sports a decent diorama mode and a dressing room, but much like the massages, this is just a pared-down version of what we already had in the previous games. The game runs mostly smooth and looks mostly fine, but I don't like that I can move my camera to see beyond the boundaries of the art cards that they use for backgrounds. Voice clips are good, but Japanese only. And the music is at least non-offensive. Part of me feels like they made it so grueling to get the true ending in hopes that you would get bored and would turn towards buying the other characters in the eShop, but I just can't be bothered. It would be the same thing with them, and they cost as much as the base game. This is a decent enough little tech demo of sorts, but given tech demos of the past like Wii Sports or Nintendo Land that came free with the console, I just can't justify even the low price for this one. This cost me $15 tax in here in Canada, and it was entertaining for maybe 30 minutes. Given that's worse than the turnaround on a movie ticket, it's not going to be a recommended purchase from me. Strangely enough, if this was actually a properly bad game beyond its writing, I probably would have enjoyed it more, because then it could at least hold my attention in some way. But this is something that I consider worse than traditionally bad. It's exceedingly boring. I wasn't expecting too much from this little 3-hour venture, but I still felt let down. The strongest thing this game has going for it is that it's one of the only things like it on the Switch right now. As far as video game massages might go, this is likely the most interactive of them all, but it's hard to care when the characters and writing are this empty and the gameplay is so repetitive. Galgun 2's massage section, though mechanically a lesser experience, is far more memorable thanks to the characters and the setup. This wasn't a bad idea from the onset, but the execution is extremely lazy, lacking, and disappointing. It just didn't do it for me. And as much as I hate to leave with a negative impression of something, that's all I got with this game. Short video, I know, but to be frank, this game doesn't give you much to talk about, so I'm leaving it at that. If you guys liked the video or found it useful at all, you know the deal. Like, comment, subscribe, share the video if you can. If you really like the content and want to support more like it going forward, consider supporting the show on Patreon for as little as $1 a month, where you get videos like this one early. As always, folks, thanks for watching.